My name is Emma, and this is the story of the day my life suddenly changed. For 5 years, I believed I had a perfect relationship. Daniel and I met in college, and from the beginning we were very close. We studied together, laughed together, and made many plans for the future. After college, Daniel found a good job in the city. I also started working at a small company nearby. Life felt stable and peaceful. Every evening we talked about our dreams. Buying a house, traveling, and building a family together. But slowly, something started to change. Daniel began coming home later than usual. At first, he said he had extra work. I believed him because I trusted him completely. Sometimes he was tired and quiet. When I asked him if everything was okay, he just smiled and said, "Don't worry, Emma. Work is just busy." Weeks passed, and the distance between us started growing. He spent more time on his phone and less time talking to me. Our conversations became short and cold. One evening, while we were having dinner, I noticed something strange. Daniel kept smiling at his phone. When I asked who he was texting, he quickly locked the screen and said it was just a colleague. At that moment, a small feeling of worry appeared in my heart. I tried to ignore it. I told myself that I was overthinking. After all, Daniel loved me, right? But deep inside, something didn't feel right anymore. Little did I know that soon I would discover a truth that would completely change my life. If you want to know what happened next and how Emma discovered the shocking truth, keep listening to the story. A few days later, Daniel told me he needed to work late again. This had become normal, but something inside me felt uncomfortable. That evening I decided to visit a nearby cafe after work. I wanted some quiet time to relax and think. I ordered a coffee and sat near the window. While I was looking outside, I suddenly saw something that made my heart stop. Across the street, Daniel was walking with a young woman. At first, I thought maybe she was a colleague. But then I saw them laughing together. Daniel looked happier than he had been in months. The girl looked very young, maybe 20 or 21. She had long hair and wore a bright red dress. Daniel gently touched her hand while they walked. My hands started shaking. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. For a moment, I wanted to run outside and ask him what was happening. But I stayed frozen in my chair. Then something even worse happened. Daniel stopped walking, looked at the girl, and hugged her. My heart broke in that moment. I quickly looked down, so they wouldn't see me through the cafe window. Tears slowly filled my eyes. All the memories of our 5 years together suddenly felt fragile and uncertain. Was everything a lie? I stayed in the cafe for a long time, trying to understand what I had just seen. That night, I went home before Daniel arrived. I sat in the dark living room, waiting for him, knowing that soon I would have to face the truth. Daniel came home around 10 p.m. He looked surprised to see me sitting quietly on the sofa. "Emma, why are the lights off?" he asked. I slowly stood up and looked directly at him. "I saw you today," I said softly. For a moment, Daniel's face became pale. "What do you mean?" he asked nervously. "I saw you with her," I continued. "The girl in the red dress." Silence filled the room. Daniel looked down and took a deep breath. Finally, he spoke. "Her name is Lily," he said quietly. My heart sank. "How long?" I asked. Daniel hesitated before answering. 3 months. 3 months. While I was cooking dinners, making plans, and believing in our future, he had already chosen someone else. "She's younger," he added slowly. "She makes me feel different." Those words hurt more than anything. I realized then that the relationship I believed in was already over. Tears rolled down my face, but inside I felt something unexpected, clarity. Daniel had made his choice. And now, I had to make mine. That night, I packed a small bag. Daniel tried to speak, but I raised my hand gently. No, I said. You already said enough. 4 years, I believed my happiness depended on him. But in that moment, I understood something important. My life did not end because someone left me. It was simply beginning again. The next morning, I moved into a small apartment near my office. It wasn't big, but it felt peaceful. Weeks passed, and slowly my heart began to heal. I started focusing on myself. My career, my friends, and my dreams. One evening, while walking in the park, I suddenly realized something. Daniel didn't break my life. He freed me from a relationship that was no longer honest. Sometimes people leave us, but they also open a door to a better future. And maybe one day, I will meet someone who truly values me. But until then, I am learning to value myself. If you enjoyed this emotional English story, and want to improve your English with more interesting stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the next story.